Hello, beautiful soul family. Rebecca here, your vibe mentor. Welcome to another Monday Magic Intuitive Energy reading. And that might be the last time I say that. It's very interesting. I am officially renaming these Monday Mastery. Instead of calling it an energy reading, I really want to shift and change the format of these videos so that we can, one, create timeless guidance and videos and content, and two, really focus on the guidance and less on what we have experienced or what is coming forward. So that does not mean that I won't speak to the solar weather or the Schumann resonance or the upcoming full moon or any of those things. I will briefly still take a minute or two to do that in the beginning, because I do think that it's very important to be reminded that we are not alone in this. We're all in this together. But I don't want to age out the guidance, because I really feel that that is the most important part of these videos. And by putting a date on it and saying it's an energy reading, we then time out that guidance. We send the message to other community members that, oh, that's old and no longer applies. And so I really want to make sure that these messages remain timeless. And I love the idea of social media and the algorithm as more of sort of the divine oracle or the divine delivery system that brings to us what we need to hear and see in those moments, in those times of need. So we are officially Monday Mastery instead of Monday Magic Intuitive Energy Reading. And it's interesting how quickly the guidance to do this has come through and how we're just executing it on it right away. But it very much speaks to the message of the time and what is being called for in this moment. So really quick, just kind of looking at the energy of the past week, we had a steady stream of M-class solar flares. Again, that is highly unusual for the standard solar cycle, but it has been speculated that we are officially in solar maximum, especially since we had our fourth X-class solar flare in the last 2 months. So to have multiple M-class and C-class solar flares every day is pretty rare. I'm sure many of you are feeling the fatigue of that. We had our most recent X-class solar flare on Friday. It did cause a radio blackout in some areas. Luckily, the Cannibal CME was a near miss, so we did not experience the downfall of that. That was a pretty big one, so we're very blessed to have missed that. There was moderate Schumann resonance activity all throughout the week. And again, I notice a correlation between our receiving the solar energy and then the impact that seems to move throughout planet Earth and our physical beings. We also had a proton radiation storm triggered by the X-class solar flare. And I find that to be important because it does affect our nervous system. It does trigger us. And I noticed that sometimes, not always, but sometimes with that will come a feeling of density or heaviness, or it's very, very fascinating. I've become so attuned to this that we can wake up feeling really good in the morning, and then we can go out for coffee, and then somehow something happens and it's like, whoa, I'm really tired and I'm feeling like, less optimistic or more focused on the negative. And I'll notice, I'll see something's up, right? Something's coming in. And sure enough, we did have a couple of KP2, KP3 readings throughout the week this past week. So if you've had moments like that, you are not alone. So that's it for the energy of the past week. Now for the timeless Monday Mastery guidance. I've noticed that most people I am engaging with right now are being asked to face their deepest fears. And this has been an ongoing process. This has been going on for months and maybe even years for some of us, where it's like we just keep seeing the subconscious fears, everything that hides in our shadows being brought to our face, brought to light, being put in our face, asking us to face them. And it's as if you have a fear of any kind, of any level, that thing is going to be brought to you so that you can work through it. And it's not fun, but it is very freeing. And I'm not surprised with this past week, especially, that was consistently a theme. because of the Pluto engagement and the planets moving over Pluto. Again, this is timeless. It really doesn't matter when you find this. It's really about what do you need to hear right now. But of course, in this moment, as I'm filming this past week, we had a lot of different planets move over Pluto. And so that death and rebirth energy is strong for us. Of course, that could be true for someone in their personal chart at any time. So it really just is when you find this and when you need this and when you hear this, right? Remembering that there is strength gained by facing our fears. And for anyone who's new here, you don't know what's going on, I'm looking up. I have some sticky notes up on the monitor there. So I'm just kind of referencing my notes. But while it is difficult, while we have these moments of questioning, why do I have to suffer? Why does the divine let us or ask us to go through these difficult moments? Why the number 3 most searched Google term is, why does God hate me? And it's not that God hates you. If anything, God loves you very much. And I heard a story this past week about I don't remember the name they used specifically, but it was a reference to God essentially. And it was a story about how he would sit in the garden every day and he would commune with the flowers and the plants and the trees and the animals and the birds. And he would say, I love you. And they would return the sentiment and say, I love you too. And each day he would come and go and spend time with them. And they enjoyed their time with him very, very much. It was what they looked forward to most. And then one day God came to the garden and he spoke to the bamboo and he said, I need to take your life. And the bamboo said, is there no other way? Must you? There must be another solution. And God said, I'm sorry, there isn't. This is the only way. And so the bamboo willingly gave up its life and said, if you must. And God cut the bamboo. And of course, that hurt very much. And he continued to cut it down and to shave it and to cut holes in it and to shape it. And it hurt. Every cut, every hole was painful for the bamboo. And then in the end, God had used the bamboo to create a flute. And he carried that flute with him everywhere. And everywhere he went, he played beautiful music with that flute. The flute became the one person or object or thing that spent the most time with God. And the other animals and plants in the garden actually became jealous. And they said, we want to spend as much time with you as the flute gets to. And so the understanding that comes from this story is that, yes, we suffer. Yes, it's difficult. Yes, it's challenging. These moments of continued week after week after week of density and challenge, it makes us question, is this worth it? One, why am I going through this? And is there a divine being that actually cares about me? I know I hear about intimacy with God. I have a beautiful picture over there that reminds me of that. But I question because I don't always feel seen. I don't always feel heard. I don't always feel cared for. And it makes me wonder, is it worth it? And the flute is a beautiful reminder that these moments of difficulty, the moments of suffering, are shaping us so that we can spend every moment for eternity with our Creator. Once that time comes, maybe, who knows? Who knows what that looks like? And I'm not about to speculate, but we want to remember that this is a shaping, this is a sharpening, this is a fine tuning, this is a helping moment or challenge. These challenges are helping us to get closer to oneness with the divine and with each other. Remembering that a lot of our suffering, there's many different reasons for it, but a lot of our suffering is because of the separation or the perceived separation, the illusion of separation from each other and from the divine. So in every moment that things are difficult or dense or heavy, we want to remember, this is what's bringing me closer to everything I seek: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, oneness, wholeness. So in these moments, we can remember that we are being strengthened by moving through the fears. We are getting closer to oneness by moving through the fears. And some of the things that are helpful to help us move through those are, one, radical acceptance. It seems counterintuitive. It seems like, okay, well, if I don't like what I'm experiencing, then I should try to manifest the opposite. But really, that's coming from a place of lack. And instead of saying, I don't like this, which is actually resistance to the thing that we don't like, and therefore going to create more, we can have radical acceptance and say, I embrace, I love, I appreciate, I have gratitude for every single thing that I experience, even the undesirable things. And surprisingly, in radical acceptance, we actually reduce our suffering. We create suffering through resistance. We say pain plus resistance equals suffering, right? I want to recognize that resistance, that ego tantrum is very much coming from the lower self. And we want to recognize those moments where the ego wants to have a pity party and say, poor me, and why isn't it easier? And why haven't I gotten mine yet? And why does everybody else, right? That's the ego. That's very much the ego. And I am 100% guilty in all of these sessions. I want to reiterate the Monday mastery or Monday magic intuitive energy reading. Historically, I'm receiving these messages just as much as anybody else. And I really want to cultivate more vulnerability and more transparency going forward. So know that that's my commitment to you. So we are surrendering to the lesson. We are embracing and softening to the process, and that will reduce our suffering. As we ask the question, what am I being asked to learn here? What am I being asked to move through here? We can, I don't want to say quicken the process, but at least reduce the suffering in the process. We want to even recall that statement and use it regularly. Thy will be done, not my will. Again, it's an ego approach to say, I want it to go this way. I want it in this time frame. This is what my future should look like. And yes, it is complex. There is a lot of duality here because we are being asked to step into our power and authority as creators and co-create with the divine. But the co-creation with the divine means that we are not necessarily the one solely in charge of what the future looks like, right? We are asked to call into being the divine will, not just our will, a soul-led dream or vision, not just an ego vision, right? So releasing expectations can be very, very helpful. It is safe to trust the guidance of the desires of your heart, but discernment is required to know what is a soul-led desire and what is an ego desire. And so when we release expectation, we could say, you know what, I really, and it's very helpful to say, okay, I want a beautiful dream home. I was given the gift of beauty. I have a desire for beauty. I resonate with high quality, high end things, and that's okay. That's my blueprint. That is not necessarily an ego-led desire. I love a garden as much as I do a high end spa, right? But my job is to say, yes, I have the desire for a beautiful dream home. But at the same time, I release my expectations and I say, thy will be done. Because I can choose to believe and know, not know, but know in my body, embody the knowing, absolute certainty that the divine plan for my life is even more beautiful than anything I could ever come up with. And so there absolutely is a juxtaposition between using the power and authority you've been given and surrender and faith and trust and releasing expectations and radical acceptance, right? There is a rebirth available to us, but it does require a complete breakdown. The mortar and pestle, I think is how you say it. I don't know why this phrase, it's been like something I've wanted, it's like coming through, but I can't quite say it properly. So correct me if I'm wrong down below. But you think of just the grinding that has to happen for an herb to be used as a seasoning to make something beautiful and taste good. And that is what has to happen to us. We have to grind everything that we thought we were, and every plan that we thought we were creating, and every process we thought we were in control of. It's a complete and utter destruction so that we can be rebuilt. There is rebirth energy available today. I'm happy to say this past week was a little bit heavy and dense. The Pluto energy, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, which is awesome. Certainly testing, certainly some activations of nervous system, certainly some fears being brought up. But the surrender and the release and the acceptance is really allowing the rebirth to start to come in. So if you're not feeling that yet, release expectations, radical acceptance of where you're at, love on yourself, nurture the parts of you that are afraid, really look at who's showing up, right? My 14-year-old was showing up. In fact, there was a new version this past week. Gosh, I'm losing it right now. That I have not worked with previously, who showed up this week, and she was the little girl who had her Barbies taken away and given to her little sister, and I felt unseen. And that was the most prized possession to me, and to have that taken away and given to the favored sister, it was very difficult. And she was showing up this week like, where's mine? Right. But that's the part that needs the love. And then there's also the ego playing on that. So we want to love on the part, nurture her, and remind her she will receive something even greater than she ever could have imagined in the perfect divine timing. When I have been ground to dust and I am willing to be rebuilt, then we will step into that divine plan. The ego is no longer needed and gets to be smashed and loved into oblivion, right? So the rebirth energy is available. There's breakthrough. There is light shining through the cracks. We're starting to get the glimpses, right? I can see, I can taste, I can sense, I can feel, I just know it's out there. I can't quite feel it yet. I can't quite put my hands on it yet, but I know it's out there. I know it's really close. So there's light shining through the cracks. Just remember, this is not going to be like it was in the past. Absolutely. I love Lori of Morning Gratitude. She says, we're not writing a new chapter, we're writing a whole new book. I have heard other channels. I am feeling the same. And yet it's easy for the ego to be afraid, or the brain looks to the past of how it believes the future will go. It's trying to prepare, it's trying to anticipate, but it's a really, really, really important for you to tell yourself and to remind your inner child and all those parts that it is not going to be like it's ever been before. This is 1,000,000% different, whether it's a massive solar flash that is the event, or if it's just a gradual process of coming to new awakenings, being ground down so that you can be rebuilt. However it looks, it doesn't really matter, because we're releasing expectations and the divine plan is better than anything we could ever imagine. So it really doesn't matter. All that matters is the presence, your presence in this moment, right? The best present you can ever give yourself or your children is presence, right? And that requires patience. That requires stillness. And it's interesting when you hear people, or I guess you could say people, any NDE stories, or anyone who channels angels, or any other outside guidance, or communication from other realms, other stages of the process. You will hear a lot about the time being slow here, and that makes a lot of sense. And yet, we're impatient because we want it to go faster. That could be blamed on social media, that could be blamed on Amazon, that could be blamed on a lot of different things. But it really does give us the opportunity for stillness, which is required. And so it makes sense why the time would be slower. It would make sense why patience is so difficult. And it would make sense why those are the things that we need the most. So as we're being patient, as we've done all the things, right? I did everything I knew I was supposed to do. I executed on all the strategies. I took all the classes. I did all the things. And now I can say, I've done my part. Now I can release it to God and the universe. And what do I do with my time in the meantime? While I'm being patient, what am I supposed to do? How do I keep the ego at bay? How do I prevent those ego tantrums of where's mine and when's it coming? And this is hard and I don't like this anymore, right? Again, guilty, right? What do? I sit in stillness. I commune with the divine. I listen. I ask for guidance. I fully and 1,000% completely commit to only being source led. Do I turn right? Do I turn left? Do I eat this? Do I not eat this? What do I say? Where do I go? Who do I speak to? Every single step of the way. I've done my part. I know that it's not by my soul action alone, right? I can't remember the verse. It's not by my might, but by thine will be done, something of that nature. And essentially the understanding is, the lesson is that I can't do this alone. Without the divine, I won't ever fully be able to accomplish goals and dreams that were put on my heart as guidance, right? This week, the message also came through taking up your cross, which is something that I hated. If for anyone who doesn't know, I'm a recovered pastor's daughter. I did not like the term taking up your cross. To me, it felt like I had to accept and relinquish myself to being sacrificed or suffering. And to some extent, taking up your cross does mean some sacrifice, but it's sacrifice of the ego. It is not that we will suffer. And we have this tendency or this belief to, the ego wants to step in and say, if I don't make it happen, if I don't protect myself, if I don't take control, if I don't drive, then I'm going to suffer. And I don't trust the divine to support me. I don't trust the divine to give me my heart's desires. I don't trust the divine to know how to meet my needs. I don't trust the divine to give me something even better than I ever could have imagined. So we're going to take back the reins of control, right? That's the ego. And is far from source led. And that is what causes our suffering. So here's the thing that I have really been meditating on over the last week or two is, yes, we are creators. Yes, we have the ability to manifest. Ask and you shall receive. It's been promised to us, but there's a big caveat there. What you ask for, you will have to grow into. You will have to become the person who is a match to that dream, that goal or desire. And if you're not willing to be ground to dust, if you're not willing to let go of your expectations, if you're not willing to let go of the past, or you're not willing to let go of the things that you cling to. Ooh, big, big, big activation in my stomach. Solar plexus, right? Power and authority. But your power and authority is not always through control. Your power and authority is through surrender, faith, trust, radical acceptance. Again, all of these things seem counterintuitive, right? We are very much in between worlds, and that's an uncomfortable feeling. I can sit here and tell you, be patient, be still, listen, be soul led. And that's hard. That is hard for me. It requires moment to moment maintenance. It requires consistent faith and trust. And that does not mean that it will be nonstop without break. And then we beat ourselves up when we fail. No, remember, balance, like the tree pose in yoga, means we move back and forth and back and forth, right? Sin is just to miss the mark. It doesn't mean forever failure or condemnation. It means try again, maybe a little to the right, maybe a little to the left, right? Balance, moving back and forth, which is a beautiful connection to the nervous system and our activation and our rest and digest and our masculine and our feminine, all these wonderful things. So staying connected, use your time to stay connected, talk to the divine, ask intelligent questions, receive answers, keep the ego at bay, keep fear at bay, faith, trust, surrender. Stick it on a sticky note, post it on your forehead, tattoo it on your arm, whatever you got to do. Faith, trust, surrender. Faith, trust, surrender, right? It's one foot in front of the other. It's moment to moment maintenance right now. Let go of what's clearly not working. Let go of every expectation. Let go of everything that you are clinging to, whether it's a belief, a person, a location, a house, a thing, an emotion, an emotional habit, right? All of these things take up space within you and they prevent the divine from moving through you and working through you. So we have to open to what will take place of the old thing, right? And we do that one by letting go of the old thing, opening to receive, trusting that the divine, trusting that we get to choose to believe that the divine's plan is better than mine, right? But that requires the space in between, the letting go, the faith, trust, and surrender, and then the receiving. And you cannot receive if you are in fear, hypervigilance, control, clinging, expectation. The list goes on and on. You do that from faith, trust, and surrender, calm, relaxed nervous system state, feminine, magnetic, allowing, receiving. Okay. I love you, my friends. Please do share this if you know anyone who could benefit from it. Welcome to Monday Mastery, and I will see you on the next one. Namaste. I love you.